As China's high-speed rail system was poised to make its first stride into the global market in 2014, the $3.5 billion high-speed train agreement between China and Mexico was abruptly terminated by Mexico, resulting in a significant financial loss for a Chinese enterprise. Prior to then, though, ties between China and Mexico were excellent. What is happening then? Why did Mexico abruptly terminate the agreement? That's what we're going to speak about today. Then, okay, let's get going. Enrique Peña Nieto took over as the new leader of Mexico's government at the end of 2012. At that time, Mexico's economy was growing slowly, and people's living standards were falling. Mexico had recently seen the effects of the Western economic crisis. Mexico has traditionally had bad traffic because of the country's topography, which contrasts with its rapid economic growth. Nieto therefore presented a fresh plan to construct a high-speed train in Mexico City shortly after assuming office. The proposal states that when the 210-kilometer high-speed railway is finished and operational, it would not only significantly enhance travel conditions for Mexicans and ease the transfer of resources and products, but it will also create up to 60,000 employment in the communities around. It will significantly lower Mexico's unemployment rate. The high-speed railway is difficult to construct even though it is just 210 kilometers long. The building of the railway was significantly more challenging due to the rocky terrain and high cliffs along the route. Mexico sought assistance from foreign infrastructure firms as a result. When it was announced that Mexico would build, the railway was made available. World-famous corporations like France's Alstom and Japan's Mitsubishi Group were quickly interested in it, and up to 17 firms expressed a desire to work with the Mexican government. Yet soon after, a warning from the Mexican government forced these businesses to withdraw. It found out that the winning bidder had to present a comprehensive project plan within 2 months as per the Mexican government's requirements. Early in 2014, the railway's construction will formally begin. Also, the Mexican government has set a short 3-year timeline for finishing the railway. By the way, less than 5 months prior to the scheduled commencement of construction, the Mexican government published this notification in July 2013. They make it clear. As a result, soon after the Mexican government issued the notice, several well-known businesses, including Alstom and Siemens, withdrew one after another from the bidding process, claiming they could not finish the project's construction within the timeframe specified by the Mexican government. There was just one remaining bidder after the Mexican government's initial round of bidding finished. Cooperatively established by China Railway Construction is the China Railway Construction Building Consortium. Many Mexican firms, as well as China South Locomotive. Even though there was only one remaining bidder in the end, the Chinese crew still completed a thorough and adequate bid. The weight of the bid-related materials and paperwork alone is 2.1 tons. In conclusion, the China Railway Construction Bidding Consortium parties participated in this bidding with the utmost sincerity, and the Chinese side can satisfy the Mexico government's demands for high quality, high speed, and cheap cost. The Chinese government's qualified proposal is one that the Mexican government is more than happy to embrace. As a result, the Mexican government announced on November 3, 2014, that it had established a collaboration agreement with the China Railway Construction Bidding Consortium, with a total contract value of up to $4.4 billion. If it is successful, Mexico City, Qatar of high-speed railway will be the second largest order for China's high-speed rail technology to go overseas. Also, it will significantly expand China's high-speed rail technology's global influence. 3 days later, Mexico's government abruptly released another statement declaring that China's prior winning requirements for speed were invalid. The government of Mexico claims that the process was unfair and unreasonable, since there were not a sufficient number of organizations that filed bids in the past. In other words, there were not enough companies. After hearing this, the Chinese staff members became quite angry. They were unable to avoid initiating the process of accumulating the necessary documentation and materials for the second round of bidding. In addition to China, there were 4 other companies competing for the contract despite the short amount of time they had to prepare and the constraints imposed by their own technological needs. It is generally agreed upon that the proposal materials presented by the 4 companies are not near as stunning as those presented by China. the Chinese Railway Construction Bidding Consortium has determined that it will once again accept the proposal. On the other hand, due to the continuing fall in global oil prices, the Mexican government issued an unanticipated declaration on January 30, 2015. Mexico's national budgetary revenue has been considerably harmed as a result of this situation. As a direct consequence of this, the government of Mexico will adjust expenditure on public projects in order to address economic concerns. The first modification to the amount of money that will be spent on public projects is the news that the construction of the Mexico City Point Toro high-speed railway would be put on hold indefinitely. What? After all, China has painstakingly compiled a large amount of detailed material regarding the bidding process over the course of a few months. In addition to receiving widespread recognition across Mexico, it has necessitated the expenditure of an enormous amount of human effort and material resources. There is currently a substantial mountain of discarded paper. After that, the Chinese Railway Construction Bidding Consortium's negotiators made many attempts to contact the Mexican government in order to raise objections. The official response of the Mexican government, however, was invariably, "There is no way." This high-speed rail line cannot be constructed in any form. Hence, the Chinese Railway Construction Bidding Consortium initiated the compensation procedure for contract infringement as soon as possible and asked that the Mexican government pay liquidated damages in line with the provisions of the agreement that was made between the two parties. At that moment, the federal government of Mexico is required to provide a compensation payment in the amount of 270 million pesos. In point of fact, even if the Mexican government were to provide the entire sum as compensation, it still would not be enough to compensate China for the losses it sustained because of this project. They are even more incensed by the fact that the Mexican government is not even willing to make the 270 million peso payment as a kind of compensation. In the end, the China Railway Construction Bidding Consortium was only compensated an amount equal to 8.06 million Chinese renminbi by the Mexican government. This came after a number of delays. Why did the Mexican government announce publicly that the building project will be put on hold indefinitely, although China and Mexico have long had strong links to one another, and the construction project is a win-win situation for both countries? Mexico is notorious for its time zone difference. Mexico is too remote from God and too close to wickedness for comfort. Given its proximity to Mexico and the complexity of its relationship with that country, the United States has traditionally seen Mexico as an extension of its own territory, and as a result, it does not tolerate the involvement of any other power. In addition, one of the primary reasons for the derailment of the Mexico City-Catara high-speed railway was the complicated political struggle that was taking place in Mexico. Once the Chinese party is qualified to win the bid for this project, there are a significant number of pro-American politicians in the Mexico House of Representatives. After having their attempts twice foiled by the Mexican government, they will not spare any effort in their fight against it. Both the use of China's high-speed rail technology in the Mexico City-Catara high-speed railway, which was an absolute failure, and the advantages that this train was supposed to offer to the people of Mexico have turned out to be complete and utter fantasy. The failure of this project, however, did not prevent China's high-speed rail from entering the international market, as seen by the completion and opening of all 13 tunnels on the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway in Indonesia. It is reasonable to anticipate that in the next few years, everything made in China will migrate towards the rest of the globe at a more consistent pace. Share your opinion in comments. Also, click on this video to watch about another shocking project.